So it is Halloween, and that only means one thing. We want to play horror games. I've got 10 picks for you today. Let's go into them. Let's find out what we've got, and let's hope to scare the living Jesus out of us. Because, it is Halloween after all, and everybody wants to be scared. So let's get into the video. Yes, guys, so I have a top 10 list of my horror game picks for this Halloween season. It is Halloween, it's coming up, it's in about 10 days, I believe, from the recording of this video. So we're getting close, maybe even less, actually. I think it's about 8 or 9 days. And I've been playing a few horror games over the last couple of weeks because it is Halloween. It's probably my favorite holiday of the year. Who doesn't like to be scared? Who doesn't like to just feel the adrenaline running through your veins? Because I do. I love it. I hope you guys do too. And I've just got about 10, I think, picks. Most of them are fairly cheap. There's a couple of big expensive ones, but the rest of them are around less than £25, which is pretty good. We've got a couple of PlayStation 3 ones on there, a lot of PlayStation 4. Surprisingly, that is a good system for horror games, let me tell you. It's a very good system for horror games. And we have two PlayStation 5 games, which, again, doesn't happen a lot, especially in my collection. It does not happen whatsoever. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Also, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing, like the video, and comment down below your favorite horror games or what you're playing currently. So this is not any from 10 to 1 sort of random order. It is just pure random. This is the first one on the list, and to be fair, it's a very good one. It is. And I think this can be found for less than £10 maybe. It's the first one in the series. Haven't played number 2, but I also haven't heard any good things about number 2. So this one is Dying Light. It's a zombie parkour game. And to be fair, the story in this is absolutely fantastic. I remember when this first came out, I was about 15, 16, I believe, at the time. 2015, was it? Was it 2015? I want to say 2015. It was 2015. Look at that. Good brain on me. So I was 17 at the time. And yeah, it's a great game. The mechanics in this is fantastic. It can be had for less than £10, I'm fairly certain, in CEX, if not cheaper on eBay or Vinted or anything like that. But it's a very good game. I enjoyed it a lot. I haven't played through it in a while, but you can play through the DLC. The DLC is pretty good on it as well. It's a good entry into the horror game franchise. It's less atmospheric, more being up zombies. But to be fair, I say that the atmosphere in this is fantastic. The creativity in this is brilliant. You're using melee weapons. It is great. It's a first start. It's a great start to this list. And Dying Light, fantastic game. I'm sure a lot of you have played it, but if you haven't, check it out. It's fantastic. So the next one up on the list is more like what's the word? I'm not sure what the word is, but like your decisions actually cause effects in the game. There's a certain word for it, but I can't remember what it is. So we're just gonna roll with it. Okay. It reminds me a bit like Until Dawn sort of thing, where the decisions you make and the sort of gameplay that actually follows is down to you, the player. And to be fair, this is an anthology. This might give it away. You could pick anyone in the anthology because they are brilliant games. I've only played one, which is this one, and yeah, it's really good. The atmosphere, everything just draws you in, and because the story and the endings of the story is down to the player, it gives that sense. What's the word? My words are not coming out, but that's okay. It gives that sense of like, oh my god, sort of thing when you actually complete the game, and it is again a great franchise. Not expensive, apart from I believe the one on the PlayStation 5 is about 15 to 20. Rest of them are less than £15 each. This one is Man of Medan. So this one is the one that is on the ghost ship. And like I said, your choices, what you do in this game, actually have full on consequences for the characters. Everybody can die or live at the same time. It's all up to you. Every character can die, interesting enough, and whatever your choices are affects everything in this game. The atmosphere is fantastic. The soundtrack is brilliant. For the price, like it is, £5. I think it's gone up a little bit since I bought it. It's about 6, maybe 8, but even so, the whole anthology, you can get like that anthology pack, which is about £30, £35, which is fantastic value. Yeah, I can spend hours upon hours of actually talking about this game because it's really good. If you haven't played any of the Dark Pictures anthologies, play them. You will not be disappointed. Let me know if you played a Dark Pictures anthology game, Man of Medan, or anything like that in the comments down below because it is fantastic and it's my shout for another horror game. So we've had two PlayStation 4 games. Honestly, the PlayStation 4 system for horror games, arguably the best system for it. Arguably. Like, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, but arguably to me, it's the best system, especially for price for what you get. It's great. It really is good. So the next one is our first PlayStation 3 game. There is, I believe, 3 PlayStation 3 games I picked up today. You could get this on PlayStation 5, so it's probably the version that I would suggest to play, and I think it's on PlayStation Plus right now, but I don't have it. I've only played the original, so yeah, it's the PlayStation 3 version on this list for me. Okay, right, next up we have Dead Space. It's the original one, arguably the only one that you should play in the series, and yes, it does have a remake, which would be the one that I would actually suggest you play. It is really good. I've got it, like I said, I think it's on PlayStation Plus right now for free, and it's great. The atmosphere in this game is so eerie, and oh my god, it's for the time especially, it's breathtaking. You play as an engineer on a spaceship. Your weapons are very limited to what you can actually use, and you're overrun by these alien. I can't remember what they're called. They're called something, and I can't remember what they're called. Um, but yeah, you play as Isaac Clarke, and this game is just brilliant. It's one of the go-to ones. It costs £4 on the PlayStation 3 if you haven't played it already. But like I said, you can get the remake version of it, which is, I believe, again on PlayStation Plus at this current time. Yeah, it's great. Don't I would say play 2 maybe, but not 3. You don't need to play 3. Don't ever do that. Don't, honestly don't. Don't do that. Just if you want to play it, £4, PlayStation 3, fantastic game. So that is 3 down, I believe, and the next one is a video game adaptation of one of my favorite horror franchises, and that may give it away because there isn't many horror franchise game adaptations on the PlayStation 3. This is a PlayStation 3 game. The second one's not so good, but I still enjoy it for what it is. But this one, for the price, is fantastic. It has gone up recently. It's probably around £20 to £25 now. But again, because I have so much love for the franchise and the lore and everything to do with it, this game was 10 out of 10 for me. This is the game in question, and it is Saw. So this game will set you back around £20 to £25. The second one is gone stupidly up, which is around £45 to £50. Do I think it's worth it? Probably not. Stick with this one. If you enjoy it, maybe go out and buy the second one. It's just not as good in my opinion. This is a more polished game. If you've ever seen any Saw in your whole life, this is pretty much what this is. It's great. It really is. To play a Saw like movie in a game is, for me, it's just great. It's a great feeling. It really is. It plays really well as well, which was quite surprising because once again, movie to game adaptations are not the best. And although I wouldn't say this is an adaptation, it is a a game based on a movie franchise. It is made by Konami, so it does have some backing to it. But it's just great. It really is. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I haven't played it in a while, and I think this year might be the year that I actually go back and replay it because yeah, it's great. It really is. Again, if you've seen a Saw film, you kind of know what to expect from the plot. So I won't really go into too much detail about it. But yeah, game, Saw, fantastic. About 20-25 pounds, not too expensive. Go buy it. So the next one is another PlayStation 4 game, because once again, it's a great system to pick up these PlayStation 4 horror games. Well, yeah, obviously it's a great system. Anyway, it's a great system to pick up these horror games on. This is a collection of horror games. It's 1 and 2 and DLC for one of them. There is 3 total, but the third one's not really a horror game. It's more like a co-op horror game. So it doesn't, it's not really the same feeling. Although it is decent, it's not as good as the first two, because it's straight away from the, story mode thing. So without further ado, this is Outlast Trinity. So this comes with Outlast, Outlast 2, and Outlast Whistleblower on disc. Now, the first time I loaded up Outlast was with a couple of friends around my mate's house, and I can remember our first time playing it. We got probably about an hour, maybe an hour and a half in, and it was scary. But the caveat I will say to anybody playing this, as long as you know if you just run away, you'll be okay, then, the scary factor or the scare factor kind of sort of goes away a little bit. It's very atmospheric. You have to go around picking up batteries for your camera, obviously working out, I believe it's your wife in the first one, if I'm not mistaken. You go into the asylum, or is it in the second one? I can't remember. It's one of them. It might be the second one, actually, but the asylum is the first one. You go over there to explore it. It's fantastic. I Again, Outlast isn't for everybody, but I enjoy it for what it is. I believe this game is around 20. Hasn't gone up too much since I bought it. 20, 25, I believe. I think it's around £20. Again, I love my Outlast. It's brilliant. It's been a while since I played it, so I think it's well worth another playthrough. But yeah, Outlast. If you haven't played them, play them. This is probably the best way to play them with the Trinity pack, because you do get 1, 2, and Whistleblower DLC. So it is fantastic. It's on 2 discs. So, and they actually gave it to me in a baggie, which is great. I do love when they do that. So yeah, if you haven't seen my recent video on that, yeah, it bugs me big time. Anyway, Outlast. So I'm going to do the next 2 games sort of the same, because it is the same franchise, but I couldn't really pick between them because it took 10 years for the last one to release, but it is actually really good. I wouldn't say it's more like, it is a horror game because it's in the zombie genre, but it's kind of fun. It's not really scary. The story's pretty good, but it is sort of like a hack and slash zombie game. But hey, they're really good, and if you haven't played them, they're not overly long to complete either. So without further ado, it is the Dead Island series. You have the Definitive Edition and you have Dead Island 2. This was a recent pickup. I haven't yet to play this game. This is about £20, I believe, maybe even less now. And Dead Island Riptide Definitive Edition. This comes with Dead Island Definitive Edition. It comes with Riptide and Dead Island Revenge, Retro Revenge, which is pretty cool. This has gone up a little bit since I bought it. I think it's around £8 to £10 now. But these 2 games, this is a cracking franchise. It's a shame we had to wait like 10 years for Dead Island 2, but hey, at least it got released, I suppose. Yeah, if you haven't played them, they're less like horror, like oh my god, scary, more of like a zombie slasher. Feel like Dead Rising, which isn't on this list. It's a very good game, and you probably should play it. But yeah, these 2 fantastic games. There's not much to say about Dead Island, in my opinion. These are just great games, and if you haven't played them, please check them out. Especially the second one, set in LA. It's pretty cool, but less scary, more just zombie slashing. So the next one is one of my most recent pickups. If you haven't seen last week's video, please check it out because it is in that video, and yeah, it's very good. I am yet to play it. I am yet to play it still. It's just getting the time round. Like I said, I'm on holiday this week, so hopefully, touch wood, we can actually get some game time in and actually do a video on it because I really want to. but it is the Silent Hill 2 remake on the PlayStation 5. If you haven't seen too much about Silent Hill 2, the remake looks absolutely fantastic. This is probably the most expensive game on this list, obviously because it's brand new. It's £60, so you know it is brand new, so you can't really squabble too much about the price. But again, like I said in the previous video, I've seen nothing but great things about this. I am beyond looking forward to playing this. I would like to stream it as well, so maybe look out for that in the future. It doesn't really need too much introduction. It's just Silent Hill 2 remake, and to be honest, it's probably up there for Game of the Year. Hopefully, I can give the same sort of opinion when I actually eventually play it. But Silent Hill 2, nonetheless. So you would have seen that I haven't really put any of my PlayStation 2 games, i.e., Project Zeroes or Clock Tower, Obscure, or Forbidden Siren, up on this list. And the main reason for that is I wanted inclusivity for everybody to really play. And I know the PS4 is probably the best place for that. That and the PS3. PS2 is a bit more difficult in modern day for everybody to play. So before you go, hurting me in the comments, yes, obviously, if you want to play any great horror game on the PS2, have at it. To be honest, any of them are pretty good. I'd say the Project Zeroes are probably my favorite, swiftly followed by Forbidden Siren. But they're expensive as well. They are so expensive right now. They've gone up tenfold, probably because it's Halloween, but even so, they've gone up so much. This is a PlayStation 3 game next. This is one of the most expensive games on the list. Same with Silent Hill 2. I think it's roughly the same price. May have gone up, gone down a little bit recently. It's technically a remaster, but it's not. This is probably the scariest game on this list as well. I'm yet to fully play through it. I played a couple of hours when I first got it, and I can tell you it's there. It is up there with the scary games. Um, Siren Blood Curse. Now, yes, this game will set you back a little bit if you don't want to pay the actual physical price for it. I know it's on PlayStation Store, and I believe it's around £10 to £15 on the PlayStation Store right now. So go ahead, go buy it. You will not regret it. Let me tell you, you won't. It's arguably one of the scariest games on the PlayStation 3 system, and yeah, from my own personal experience, I can vouch for that 100%. The atmosphere in this game is unreal. It's meant to be, I believe, a somewhat remaster of the first one. Don't fully quote me on that, but that's what I'm led to believe, what I've seen. And yeah, if you haven't played it, I would say probably buy it digitally rather than spending the £60 to £65 to have it physically. It's up to you guys, obviously, but it's a fantastic game. It's another one of a high recommendation, but again, it's expensive, so you know it's one of those. You know. So we've come down to the last game I'm about to show you, and yes, it is another remake. And yes, in my opinion, they did this remake fantastically, just like they did with number 2, maybe not number 3. That may give it away what it is, but this is Resident Evil 4. And if you haven't played the remake, go ahead. This is the steelbook version of it. It's beautiful, by the way. Um, you, you're Leon. You're Leon, and you're replaying Resident Evil 4. Who hasn't played Resident Evil 4? Let's be honest, it's a very good remake of the original. They've not really changed too much on it. They've just made it better, really. Apart from what they did to Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 2, again, is another one. You could have any Resident Evil on this game list. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is pretty good as well. Like, that was close to being on this list, but I think this just edges it a little bit. Yes, the second PlayStation 5 game on this list. Like I said, you can have any Resident Evil game, even the first ones. You can literally buy all of the Resident Evil games, I believe, on the PS4. I'm 2, maybe 3 games away from having a full Resident Evil set on the PS4, which is brilliant. It's so good. Would I say this is full on horror? Yeah, it's more horror survival, but it's a great game. This will set you back, I believe, around £20 to £30, depending on the day. Literally, with this does fluctuate quite a lot. This is like I said, the Steelbook version, so it's very nice. But yeah, it doesn't need too much explanation. It's Resident Evil 4, and it's fantastic. So yes, guys, these are my horror picks for Halloween. If you're playing horror games this Halloween, let me know what you're playing down below. Let me know what other games I really should have actually included, because again, I could be here for hours saying which games you should actually play this Halloween, but these were just 10 games that I thought, you know what, actually deserve a shout out. Some of them are less known, some of them, go under the radar a little bit, especially with like the Dark Picture anthologies. It's really good. A lot of these are quite cheap, less than £20 for for a game. Apart from your Silent Hill and your Siren Blood Curse. Let me know again, like I said, down below in the comments. Please like the video. Consider subscribing if you like this type of content. And for now, guys, take care of yourselves.